Alright guys, this is November's edition of PW Talk. I'm going to try and make this a monthly occurrence, something just fun to do. It only takes up about half an hour of my time, and a lot of discussion points. I'm not as organised as I was last month. I've had a bit of a busy week, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through post by post on the thread and discuss the talking points that you gave us. It'll be spontaneous and off the top of my head, so there might not be as great answers as you could imagine. First is GX's post, and his first discussion points: the Chelsea managerial debacle. I thought it was a bit weird for Di Matteo to get axed last week, and I think he had a plan for a while, because he brought Benitez in so quickly. But you know, it's just nonsense to sack managers when the Champions League and the FA Cup within 5 or 6 months after he did it. I mean, you couldn't see any of the other big clubs doing it. You couldn't see City doing it, not saying something. You definitely couldn't see United or Arsenal doing it. I think Abramovich he's lost the plot a little, and he's starting to get a bit bored with his Chelsea experiment, and I could definitely see him selling up in a few years' time. I'd be very surprised if Guardiola actually goes there next year, given Abramovich's impatience with managers. It would be a dangerous position for him to occupy, in my opinion, especially given the safety he was used to at Barcelona. He strikes me as the type who likes long-term plans, like he was given at Barcelona. So I could see him, Guardiola going to a Man United or Arsenal, more than likely Man United, to replace Ferguson. Second discussion was what transfer dealings would I like Sunderland to make in January. I think a new right back would be nice. Bardsley's been struggling. Craig Gardner's fitted there quite nicely, but yeah, he prefers midfield obviously, so I think a permanent right back would be good. Danny Rose has fitted in nicely at left back. I'd love for us to sign him permanently, but I don't know if that's going to happen in January or at all. But I wouldn't mind him signing, full stop. And I think we need a powerful centre midfielder, especially the last couple of games. Our problems seem to have been that we're far too lightweight in midfield. I like Colback, but he's very lightweight. Larson has been playing in centre midfield for most of the season. He's just not a centre midfielder. We really need someone who, the likes of Diarmi at West Ham. I think I've mentioned him in the last podcast. I would have loved to sign him. We need someone with a bit of power to complement the likes of Cattermole in midfield. Last of all, from GX, is who will win the Royal Rumble. It's always a weird one. You always think that there's going to be one person in particular who will win it, but the WWE usually swerve you and it's someone completely different. But I think it'll be Ryback who wins it this year. I think he's been, he's the last few months he hasn't enjoyed the best of times against CM Punk. I don't think he'll win the title at TLC. So I think they'll make up for some of the booking they've made in the last few months and give him a Royal Rumble win, just to keep him strong and protect him really. So yeah, I think Ryback is my pick to win the Royal Rumble. Alright, wrestling MVP next. Celtic's Champions League run. I haven't watched too much of the Champions League this season, to be brutally honest, but obviously I know enough that Celtic's done marvellously well. I don't think they'll qualify into the next round. I think Benfica will just surpass them, but you've got a hell of a win in a night to remember against Barcelona. You've done your country and your team proud. So I think Celtic can be happy with their run in the Champions League this season, and make do with the Europa League and concentrate on the domestic league. continue on the Champions League theme, Man City's failure. Yeah, they've had two really tough groups 2 years in a row. They had, the likes of Napoli last season in the group, who were dark horses. They had Madrid and Dortmund in this season, and Ajax who done really well. I think a lot of it is really tough groups. I don't know what the problem is. I think Mancini underestimates the Champions League maybe a little. Yeah, he never did well with Inter Milan there. As soon as he left Inter Milan, they won the Champions League with Mourinho. So maybe if City want to do well in Europe, the answer is to get rid of Mancini and employ someone else. Picks to win the Champions and Europa League. Champions League, my final four, if they avoid each other in the draw, would be Man United, Real Madrid, Barcelona and Bayern Munich. I think there'll be possibly a Madrid-Barca final. That's if they avoid each other in the draw. Barca are doing incredibly well in the league this season compared to Real Madrid anyway. I think it's Barcelona's year this year. Yeah, I can't see Chelsea doing it. No team's won the Champions League 2 years in a row. So yeah, I think I'm going to go Barcelona. Final question from WMBP. Target lead position for Sunderland. It's been a really poor start of the season. The last 2 games have been poor. Since you posted that, we lost to West Brom on Saturday, and a disappointing draw with the bottom of the table at QPR last night. We've got to improve upon last year, so got to try and go for 10th place. But given the start we've had, that's going to be really challenging. But yeah, I'd like to see us go for the top 10, and 10th place is realistic, even with a bit of a disappointing start. Froggy now. Thoughts on the board's resurgence since it almost died a year ago? I think it's been terrific. Better than you could imagine. It's almost hard to remember how the board was. At this point last year, it was terrible. It was always crashing. You couldn't get on most of the day. But now it's cleaned itself up. We've got new super mods, new admin in Easy Rider, and we've seen a lot of new registration posters. Some of them not so great, but I think for all the bad posters we've seen register, we've seen enough good posters to make it worthwhile. There's a lot of active posters about. It's a fun place to post in still. I think the resurgence has been great, and for all the new posters we're getting, it's going to keep continuing, I hope. Second talking point from Froggy is my hopes for WrestleMania next year. I'd like to see Punk and Undertaker put together. It looks like it's going to be a Rock Cena rematch, but I'm not completely opposed to that, like most of the WWE sections seem to be. And I'm not too thrilled about a Triple H Lesnar rematch, but I mean, nothing's set in stone. It may look predictable now, but the WWE have got a track record of shaking things about and surprising us when we're least expecting it. So I think it's going to be a good Mania. I certainly hope it's going to be a good Mania. And I'd love to see Punk main event, but that's very dependent on who he's facing. How do I see Fernando Torres doing now that Rafa Benitez is manager of Chelsea? Torres played brilliantly well under Benitez at Liverpool, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure what Torres' problem is. Whether it's a mental thing, I think it's definitely a mental thing, and whether Benitez is the right guy to sort that out, because he's definitely not the same Fernando Torres that was banging him in at Liverpool. So I think if there's anyone that's going to get Torres to his old self, it is Benitez. But whether he's going to be able to do that is another thing, in my opinion. what clicked against Fulham for Sunderland? Well, we haven't clicked since then, but I don't know. I don't think we're quite clicked. The sending off was pivotal. That gave us a lot of confidence, and we took advantage of it. But at the same time, I don't know if you watched the entire match, but we could have easily ended up drawing that game. Simon Mignolet made 2 great blocks, one-on-one saves from Sidwell was the first, I believe, and then Petric. So we could easily not ended up winning that, despite playing against 10 men. Another interesting stat is Sunderland haven't won against a team that's finished the game with 11 men since early March against Liverpool. We've won 3 games, I think, in the league since then, and they've all been against 10 men. So something's not quite right at the minute. Oh well, I actually answered this question earlier. My 4 for the last 4 of the Champions League are United. I think Van Persie and Rooney are gonna be on song and help them go on a great run in Europe. Real Madrid, Barcelona, and finally Bayern Munich. That's very dependent on the draw, but if all things are, they avoid each other in the draw, I definitely see them being the final 4. Alright, GC91. I finished my placement last week at the Echo. I did a week there at the Sunderland Echo. That was quite alright, it was good to see, get an insight into how trained journalists work, what they do day to day, and I also was able to get a couple of stories published in the Echo, not sports stories, just general journalist stories, which was really good, to see your name on the byline, and it was a good experience overall, I might not have been writing the most thrilling of stuff. For example, my first story was about fetuses yawning in the womb, and then I wrote something about Bon Jovi's ticket sales the next day. So it was varied, and while not being the most thrilling of stuff, it was good. It was a good experience, and it was good to get a week under my belt. And I still need to do another week placement somewhere. So I need to get in touch with people and try and sort a week out somewhere else. But yeah, it was really good. It was really helpful. And while I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna definitely go into the journalist, a career in journalism after I leave university, it was I thought it wouldn't be a bad job after the experience I had for that week. Next is O'Neill under pressure. Yeah, he's definitely under pressure, You've got fans booing at the end of the game, you've got fans booing during the game, you've got fans booing some of the players he's bringing on, which is quite frankly a disgrace. He's definitely under pressure. He's not picking up the results, things are not going to plan. The honeymoon period's been over for a long time, and quite frankly, Sunderland haven't played to the best of their ability since we got knocked out in the FA Cup quarter final at Everton. They've just seen a different team since then. I don't know what it was. The first few months the team on a high after he came in, and then the bubble just burst really. Who would I like to see sign? That's a similar question to what I answered earlier, but if you want me to name specifics, I don't know who exactly. Just someone who fits the bill, a good solid right back, and someone who's got a bit of weight about him in the centre of midfield, because to be honest, I think the midfield's losing us the majority of the games we've lost. They're just getting bypassed. They're not strong enough, and something needs to change, especially in the centre. And I know O'Neill has discussed the same thing in press conferences. He says he wants a well-built midfielder. So I'm glad he realises the problem himself. Finally, last few questions from Todd. did the WWE miss the boat of Ryback, or does Punk deserve the protection he's been receiving? To be brutally honest, I think it's a bit of both. I think the WWE have thrown Ryback in the deep end to a certain extent, and they've certainly booked themselves into a corner, because I do think Punk deserves to go into the Rumble and face The Rock, but at the same time, WWE have created a problem with Ryback because they've had him lose at Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series, and it very much looks like he'll lose again at TLC next month. So, you know, he's not getting booked as well as he should be, Ryback. I mean, he does look strong, but I think he's been thrown into this far too early. He should have been given a serious program, possibly with The Miz or Daniel Bryan. You know, just an annoying heel, and then finally, you know, pull the trigger after that. The crowd reactions he's getting is brilliant. So despite them, you know, like you say, missing the boat, he's still getting well received from the crowd. So he's not completely damaged, but you know, he could have been far superior. As far as Punk's concerned, I think he deserves still to be champion. And the smart thing is to go with Punk Rock at the Rumble. So yeah, WWE created their own problem there, and I really wanted to see Cena Punk at Hell in a Cell, but if you couldn't go with that, I would have went with Punk Vince. I think that would have got as many buy rates as what Punk Ryback is going to end up with. I can't remember the last time Vince wrestled at a pay-per-view, so you know, we could have went with that easily. Play of the season so far, I think up until a few weeks ago there was a lot of talk about Mata, which I'd agree with, but in my opinion it's been Luis Suarez. I know Liverpool haven't quite got the result they should have, but Suarez he's dragged the performances up. He's been pivotal to the football that Brendan Rodgers is trying to play. He's scored some brilliant goals. He's put in some amazing performances. He's answered a lot of critics, and you know, he's been wonderful to watch as much as you hate him. You know. Final question, just to wrap things up. Does Fat Rafa get too much stick, or is it deserved? I thought the stick that he got from the Chelsea fans on Sunday was OTT. It was, you know, over the top. Not deserved at all. I mean, I can understand they're very unhappy that Di Matteo left, but if they're going to voice the discontent at anyone, surely it should be Abramovich, not Benitez. So in my opinion, the stick he's getting is undeserved. Yeah, definitely. I know that wasn't the best of editions, but I just wanted to get that done before the end of the month. Like I said, I've had a very busy week, but I should get another one of these up next month, possibly towards the end of the month again, when I've got a lot more to discuss. And that's about it. Thanks for watching, and if you've got any feedback, like I said, just put it in the thread. And also, before I go, if any other members of PW want a video themselves discussing the same discussion points, just post a response to this video. It'd be pretty cool if we got a few of us just, you know, regularly discussing stuff, and then we could possibly do something from there, like a podcast, or you know, do something similar to what Brezzy did with Ozone, but on a bit of a bigger scale if we could. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll be back next month. Cheers, guys.